So for today, and Lizzie, you gave us the breaking news. We're going to start out with you.
Mm,
Is this a truth? Is this a lie? Or are we talking shenanigans?
these are shenanigans, slap your mama shenanigans. So,
Mama shenanigans.
for those of you guys who don't know, Miley Cyrus has a younger sister.
I didn't
Who
know.
knew? Who knew?
I didn't.
I had no idea that there was a thing called Noah Cyrus until earlier this week. But apparently, in an effort, to go viral, to get her name out there, because all news is good news when you're trying to make a name for yourself. Noah Cyrus decided that she was going to jump in um, on the debate between Candace Owens and Harry Styles. Now, remember, we talked about Candace Owens several weeks back. I believe it was on episode 66, 65 or 66, if you will. The date was November 18th. And we talked about how Candace Owens had made a statement about Harry Styles appearing on the cover of Vogue, appearing in the pages of Vogue in a dress, saying, "Bring back manly men." That this is an offense to the idea of the alpha male, the idea of a manly man. We hashed out this topic. We dragged her. She was, raked across the coals on Black Twitter, on white Twitter, all over social media. And then, Harry Styles had some fun with it too. But for whatever reason, Noah Cyrus decided to bring this up out of the woodwork after we had moved on. And so she made this statement calling people a certain name that we really shouldn't be saying. But she was commented on one of his pictures saying, "He wears this dress better than any of you nappy ass hoes." Now,
Spelled Heauxx.
XZ,
Is that a
XZ.
Z? Okay.
Yeah, that's a
Yep.
Z. Not Liz, but that's a Z.
Hard to see.
So my first question to the panel is, what is your response to this? Very quickly, what
Let's
is your
start with
response?
Robbie.
All right, I did some homework just for fun because yes, I had no clue who Noah Cyrus was. And while I did decided to go down that rabbit hole, decided to look up some of the family history, if you will, and I couldn't find anything overt racist from Billy Ray or from Miley. In fact, Miley is often an advocate of disenfranchised groups, a big advocate of the LGBT community. So I didn't really see that. Noah's 20 years old. She should know better, but it could absolutely be a statement made out of ignorance, depending on what your circle is. While I understand that nappy is not the best word to go out calling people, I don't understand the full context of it. So I would like to extend her that same benefit of the doubt. But given that she comes from Tennessee, I think she understands the context of the word better than she's letting on.
All right, Angela,
Okay.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. If you don't know what something means or the context of something, you shouldn't be using it. I really am sick of derogatory terms being used by someone or something being said, and then you try to do this backpedal and this apology when everyone comes for you to say, "Oh, I didn't know," and try to play like you didn't. I don't think you would have used the term if you didn't know it was going to sting a little bit, and that's just how I feel. I think people need to mind their business. Harry responded, allow him to fight his own battle, and
Mm-hmm.
again, if you don't know what something means in its full context, don't use it. Don't use it.
Great.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so this is my thought. This is clearly a denigrating a racial feature. So if you're gonna, the word nappy is the one that offends me the most, obviously, because you're picking out a feature of an individual and then you're denigrating it. So to not know, to say, hey, I didn't know that that was offensive. I did. That's I'm not believing that. I'm not agreeing with that. I'm not buying it at all because it's just like if someone had a large nose and you start talking about their nose, or calling them, referring to Jews or whoever has big noses, you're just denigrating a specific feature of a race or group. So there's no way you can't see this as, even if it wasn't racist, you can't see this as wrong. So, Lizzie.
So here are my thoughts. First and foremost, for those of you who are familiar with Game of Thrones and Khaleesi and her dragons, Dracarys to the person who makes me have to defend Candace Owens.
I was thinking the same thing.
Candace Owens is not
Why we have to
a show.
defend Candace?
She is Black woman who is a very conservative, right-winger, Trump supporter, and who always comes out usually against the best interest of the Black community. So for me to have to sit here and defend her kind of, puts me in a mood, which is why, I have another reason why I have the bubbly out. But I want to see an instance where Noah Cyrus, Miley Cyrus, or anyone else in their group, in their demographic, is calling a white woman a nappy ass hoe. Nappy isn't usually a term that is used for white people. It's a derogatory term that is used for Black folks, historically, currently. So I guarantee you that it never would have occurred to Noah Cyrus to say this to Nicki Minaj. Okay, so I don't buy this argument that she kind of didn't know what it meant. Yeah, she did. She did. She knew what it meant. She didn't know that it was going to generate the backlash because a lot of people came for Candace Owens, who probably thought that everyone was going to be on her side and have her back. But no, you do not get a pass. I don't buy your apology, and I'm upset that I have to agree with and defend Candace Owens. But as a woman of color, as a woman who has had that term thrown at her, and I'm gonna tell you about that in a second, I again pull out my dragon, Dracarys. Noah Cyrus, Dracarys. So this is Neo just put up Candace Owens's response. Anyone, again, she needs an editor. Anyone of woke liberals care to explain to me how at Noah Cyrus calling me a nappy asshole? See, he's making me cough. Calling me a nappy asshole is not racist. You guys love cancel culture. At Miley Cyrus, come get your sister. And again, I can't say normally I disagree with Candace Owens on about 98% of the things, that the rhetoric that she puts out, but on this, she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve that. And so it triggered me because back in 2007, when I was living in New York, there was a bar, my local bar on the corner, Opal. I'm at Opal one night by myself, but I'm there conversing and socializing with a group of people, all of whom are white. So I'm the only Black person in the group. Not a big deal to me. There happened to be a small kerfuffle between two people in the group, a little argument back and forth between a guy that I was talking to and then another guy and his girlfriend. The guy that started the kerfuffle with his girlfriend, he got kicked out because he was just loud and boisterous and basically threatening. His girlfriend got pissed because he got kicked out. And so she turned to me and called me a nappy tar baby bitch. A nappy tar baby bitch. Now, mind you, I had never in my life, and you hear about incidents like this, you read about incidents like this in history books, or you hear them from your older friends, ancestors, whatever. You hear the stories that are passed down. But I, up until that point, have been very fortunate that it had never been directed at me personally. And so when she said that to me, and I'm not advocating violence by any stretch of the imagination, but I jumped outside of my body and punched that MFer in the face. In a bar that was my local bar, where the bartenders knew me, where the bouncers knew me, where I was a friend of the bar. But in that moment, I became the threat. Now, in my head, I'm defending myself, but you're defending yourself against words. But I saw red. Red.
I bet.
And she, in response, she kind of tried to swing at me again. So I grabbed her hair, pushed her. She tried to run. And the reason why they threw me out of the bar, because they did throw me out of the bar, and rightfully so. I deserve that. The reason why they threw me out of the bar was not because I hit her, but because when she tried to run from me, I picked up a glass and threw it at her and clocked her in the back of the head.
Wow.
And so then that became just very outrageous. But when I tell you I saw red, I didn't even recognize myself. I had never been offended like that in my life. And I had never, at that point, hadn't even spoken to this young lady, had not said 2 words to her. But she saw that I was talking to the guy that eventually got her boyfriend kicked out of the bar, and she immediately went the racist route. And so that's why this kind of triggered me, because that young lady knew what she was saying to me. She knew what she was saying to me. She wasn't calling anybody else in the bar a nappy car baby bitch. She knew what she was saying to me. And so
I mean, it's a straight. I mean, it's denigrating the color of your skin. So it's clearly you know it's an attack. It's an attack. Whatever it is, it's an attack on your features. Something that she sees about you.
That way.
Right.
Yeah, it's always done that way.
No, go ahead, Angela.
No, I'm just saying, it's always, if you see these viral videos, if you see a lot of these things, that's always what is resorted to some derogatory, disrespectful term, like what you're saying doesn't get me, but I know how I can get you. It's always done that way. Right. So no, you can't keep saying that you don't know.
I mean, it's like, you know, when you see somebody and they talk about you have a bald head or you're fat or whatever it is that is, or you're too skinny or whatever it is, people will attack your features and what they see about you. You know, just, you know, that's just the way people are, or big ears or big nose or, you know, whatever it is.
As it relates to race, I often say this to people because you hear all the time, you know, why do you always have to bring up the race card? And I'm just like, no, racists bring up the race card. Again, I said nothing to this girl. And in her response to me, or even trying to get my attention, she went for the race jugular first. Candace Owens never said anything to Noah Cyrus. But in Noah Cyrus trying to say something to Candace Owens in a situation that had nothing to do with her, she chose the race card first. And so that's what triggered me about this. And I was glad that she did apologize, even though I don't necessarily think it was sincere.
Sure.
But I appreciated that social media, not only did social media gather her up, but it wasn't just Black people on social media. It was white people, it was Asian people, it was Latino people. Everybody was like, whoa, little girl.
I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it was really obvious attack.
Yeah.
It was a really obvious attack.
So this was one of those things to me. I was like, so not only now do I have to know who Noah Cyrus is, now I have to look at her with the side eye every time I see her, because I don't think that this came from an innocuous place of ignorance. I think she was very poignant in her words.
No question.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts, Angela?
I just need folks to mind their business, okay? In 2021, we need to mind our business, okay?
People are all up in people's business. All right. All right, a bunch of comments online. I see some people on TikTok. We got Layfish is on TikTok. We got Studly and Learn with SYD. Studies with SYD. All right. And then on Facebook, we got Jacqueline. It's interesting that in her rage, she pulled from that particular well, talking about Lizzie. Such violence, I'm impressed, coming from Kevin Thaxton.
Whatever. Kevin, tries to bait me all the time, talking about she can't fight, whatever. Yeah, I see you, Kevin. I see you, Kevin. I see you.
All right. Liz threw down at Opal, talking about Lizzie. Advocate, coming from Jacqueline Robinson.
It's not a story that I'm proud of. I was very upset after that incident and very disappointed in myself. But then also too, I felt like, wow, is this how people see me?
Yeah.
As a nappy tar baby? Like it took me a while to get over that, both from her actions and then my response to her. And hopefully I have matured and will not be punching folks in the face anytime soon.
I see Princess Poo Poo Pants has joined us on TikTok. Love that name. Jose says on Facebook, I had no clue there was a younger siblings. siblings popping out. I had no
Queen
idea.
Jose.
I was like,
No idea.
all right, let's move on to the next topic.